Dr. Chloe is a clinical psychologist. I joined her on Timcast in West Virginia. She has a book, Can I Say That? That's coming out very short. I think it's maybe out now, but I strongly recommend you look at that. We've been talking about the capture of psychology. She's an advisor and fellow at the Independent Women's Forum. The book, she's got a few, including Can I Say That? Why Free Speech Matters and How to Use It Fearlessly, is a comprehensive book of the importance. And she was telling me when we were on Timcast, there's Chloe, when you were saying to me on Timcast, it just poured out of you, which I always consider to be a great sign of a good book, because it's already in you and you're just going to communicate it to the world.
Yeah, thanks. Honestly, it was like kind of a song in my heart. I had this experience of having kept a lot of things inside, in the media. Sometimes you have to be careful what you say, or to get through school, to get a PhD, I had to be careful what I said. And then when I started speaking out about the masks, it was like a switch flipped. And I was like, there's really something to be said for freedom of expression. And as a psychologist, I just wanted to let people know that you shouldn't, I know it's scary with cancel culture, but suppression, repression, denial, those are not good things all the time. And so if there's something you want to say, it's time to be bold and say it.
Is the book out now? Can they get it on Amazon, or is it coming out?
Yeah, so if they go to freespeechtoday.com, because that's super easy, I wanted to make it easy because I know the whole thing's a mouthful. So freespeechtoday.com will take them to where they can pre-order it. It is on Amazon and other places. Yeah. And the more that people pre-order it, the more that, bookstores and other places will stock it. And I was telling you that even though I'm a USA Today bestselling author and I had a really top agent, my agent dropped me when I said I wanted to write and talk about free speech. My big publisher said, Chloe, we love your work. We'd love to publish another book by you, but just not this one. And so it's a topic that I think people need to get behind. And so I'm so thankful to Skyhorse for publishing the book. Same publishers, RFKJ and Melania Trump. I know Dr. Julian's coming in later as well. So yeah, I appreciate the support. And so if people want to check it out, they can go to freespeechtoday.com.
Yes, the brains behind Skyhorse has been texting me lately, trying to get me to Washington. I'm trying to figure out how to do it, and it's like people on the East Coast forget how far away that is from California. So one of the things you and I were talking about in West Virginia was the capture of psychology, not just our ability to express ourselves freely. I think COVID taught everybody that. But give them a little primer, and then we'll get into the Gen Z stuff, and we'll get Melanie in here. But just a little primer on the capture of psychology.
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. So one of the things that I was actually researching in the book is the faculty ratios in many fields, including journalism, which is a whole other story.
Of course.
But in psychology, the faculty ratio of Democrat to Republican is about 20-1. And there's absolutely nothing wrong, of course, with Democrats and liberalism. I want a diversity of thought. But when you have a ratio that's 20-1, that means, and this was true for me of every psych department I was ever in, it's 100% Democrat. And so that means, for example, I remember when I was in school, people were talking a lot, as they probably still are, about, racism. And so there would be cultural competency classes, which was really big and important. And so I remember asking once, how come we can talk about race in terms of cultural competency, and therefore in those cases we can talk about certain cultures and what is common within them so that we know how to work within those cultures? But if we want to talk about those cultures and those features and those patterns in any other context, it's considered stereotyping and racism. And I remember that they said to me, Chloe, we just don't go in that direction. I'm concerned about your own racism just by you even saying that. And so, of course, as a student, I was like, okay, that's a big red flag. I better shut up or I'm not going to get my PhD, right? So, I mean, at a certain point, you just kind of learn to shut up. And then also what they're doing, because they're so homogenous, and I don't even blame them. When you have any group of homogenous thinkers, they're blind to their blind spots. So you have a whole faculty, say, of people that think the same way. They start admitting students that all think the same way, or who will at least pretend to.
Of course.
And it just becomes a spiral.
We spoke about the desperation of this circumstance when we were in West Virginia, and it's frustrating and it's tough, but it is as Melanie said, it is moving in the right direction, I think. I hope, I'm sort of seeing this whole thing as not just a battle, but an evolution. And the teams, the points of view are kind of separating. And that worries me a little bit. How are we going to get this all reintegrated again?
Yeah. So, I really agree with what Melanie was saying, that free speech is really the cornerstone. When people can speak freely, they think better, they think more accurately, they think more sharply, they have better emotional regulation, they have better relationships, and then naturally they have better mental health. And to your point, Drew, about how people are getting separated, one of the things in the book, I see, thank you for putting it on screen, that I talk about in addition to learning how to speak up is how to listen resiliently. So for all sides, we not only need to learn how to say our piece, but we need to learn how to hear what somebody else says without feeling like it threatens our existence. Or, I've had people say, well, I'm afraid to really hear what that person says because I don't want to seem like I'm endorsing it or like I agree with it. I think we've been taught not to talk about politics because it's, quote, not polite, to the point where we've forgotten to talk about politics civilly. And so I think speaking out and telling the truth and being able to listen and hear each other, which I do believe the trending is towards, I'm an optimist right there with you. I think things are going in the right direction.
And to give a little more of a finer point on the book, Chloe gets into the hidden dangers of free speech. And then, as she was just pointing out, the tools for open dialogue is a whole section in her book. And so it's a very much of a how to bring this to reality. So Chloe, thank you again. Great to see you. drchloe_ is X and drchloe.com. And hopefully we'll talk soon.
Thanks. Yeah, the best way is freespeechtoday.com. Maha.
There it is. There you go.